Hey, I'm Ash. I'm a diabetic of just about 20 years. If you've clicked through this video, then chances are you are too, and you have some vague idea about what we're going to look at. If you're not, then there's about literally a billion other YouTube videos which are going to be more interesting than this. We're looking at a new blood test meter called the Freestyle Libre. So this has been out for a little bit, and it was recommended to me by my endocrinologist. Not to replace the blood meter I use now, but just more of a periodic thing to kind of get a better idea of what's going on. So the big difference between that and the meter which I use primarily, which is the AccuCheck Mobile, which I like. It's portable. I find it a bit more accurate than some of the ones with the test strips, and test strips are a pain in the ass, is where this gives you a spot reading of what your blood's doing right now. This thing has this weird beacon thing that gets stuck onto your arm or somewhere, and it basically hangs out there for 2 weeks, and you touch it with this thing, and within a second it gives you not only the reading right now, but what your blood's been doing for the last 8 hours. So it should be able to provide some more insight, like what's happening overnight during exercises, and really not mean you have to be bricking all the time. In Australia, that one's $95, and this is $95 as well. They're not covered by the NDSS, which is Australia's government system which makes stuff basically affordable. So one thing that right off the bat you notice is it's just got this sickly yellow stuff. I mean, there's so many diabetics, I find it kind of disheartening that they can't align this stuff to have a bit more of a consumer electronics feel rather than, hey, you're sick, there's a weird butterfly on the front of it. Alright, what do? Assemble and apply sensor to your body. Hey man, $95. I mean, seriously, how much of that is this piece here, which you need to buy each time? Guns. Gotta peel it open. So it says to make them have sex with each other by aligning the dark marks, and then stare at the needle. Oh. Didn't feel it. Didn't feel a thing. That's nice. Gently pulling it away. Oh! Look at that! The hell is that? I am a cyborg! So with this thing, push the home button to turn on the reader. Alright, so the, it's similar to a lot of other meters, like within the range. I mean, look, the resolution's not fantastic on this thing. Well, I'm not that good at being a diabetic, so I would say I'm actually going to raise, 5.6 that's good, but 7.8, start new sensor. Scan a sensor to start it. Whoa. New sensor starting up. Sensor can be used in 60 minutes. But to be honest, it was pretty easy to set up. It didn't actually hurt at all, which is great. I can't do anything for an hour. I guess I'll leave it for a bit, see what comes up. I don't mind the meter, it kind of fits in your hand. It's certainly a nicer size than the AccuCheck Mobile. So things that I'm probably most concerned about it is if this thing falls off. I mean, at 95 bucks, you definitely don't want it to fall off. I had seen that some people kind of covered it with like a medical Band-Aid type thing, which might be good for ice hockey because there is a bit of friction there with some of the gear. And also just, obviously it's sticking on with an adhesive, so what happens if I have a really long shower, that kind of thing. They do say it's somewhat water resistant, waterproof up to some kind of distance, but we'll have to see. A cool thing I did see is that Android has an app, which means I think you can bypass that and directly use the technology in a lot of Android phones to get that, though a lot of the reviews on the Play Store were saying that it wasn't connecting. Not unfortunately, I am on Apple, I'd much rather be on Apple. Alright, it takes an hour before you can actually test and get a result. I just wanted to show how fast it actually is. Bring! Done. 4.7. Pretty good read, actually. Alright, so I've had the sensor on for about 3 days now. I actually went swimming with it this morning and it's been working fine. My biggest gripe with it is there's a lag on it. Okay, so there's no way it's going to replace this. It does have the traditional thing to insert the strips that come with my other meter, but I hate carrying strips. The reality is there's a lag. So just testing off one of these things versus off your blood, there is a bit of a lag. From what I'm reading, anywhere kind of between 5 to 15 minutes, although Abbott say it's on more to 5 minutes. You know, if you're in a situation where maybe you've double dosed or you're in really strenuous exercise and you need that immediate feedback, this thing isn't going to do it for you. So, you know, unfortunately, by not wanting to carry strips with me, I've kind of doubled my hardware for now, which is the biggest problem that I'm finding. Is like, the reason I like this is it has no strips, the pricker is attached to it. It means I have to carry less stuff. I mean, I'm always carrying this with my insulin as well. If they could find a way of kind of combining an insulin pen or hold it into that would be great too. What I do really like is how fast it is. So from powering on to test, it's almost instantaneous. One thing I don't really like on it is the screen. So it's pretty low res. It's similar to what you get across some of the other meters where it's not really responsive. It is a touch screen, but if you're not getting it on the right angle, it's kind of hard and finicky to get the buttons, and there's no swipe, zoom, or anything like that. And when you got things like that where it's a display with a line, the expectation is that you'd kind of be able to swipe between each day and zoom in, and that's a little disappointing. I haven't had any kind of pain or anything from the meter. I did cover it up with like this clear kind of sticker this morning for swimming. It does say that it's waterproof, water resistant, but I didn't really want to take any risks because it's basically $95 down the drain. It's good being able to see the chart of what's happening. I mean, there's a lot that you kind of just make an assumption between your pricks, especially overnight, to see what's happening. I was seeing some kind of rises early in the morning, and I'm just seeing that kind of my general control is fishtailing a little bit, which I've got to wrangle in. It was really great for testing in the night. Like, it's such a pain turning the light on, testing, and then I start waking up and the prick and stuff. This was really fast, instantaneous, and I can see the trend, which was more important. I haven't really found this that annoying. Like, there was one or two times in the last couple of days where I kind of did feel it. Maybe I had it on a weird angle. But, you know, it works through your clothing as well, so it's non-intrusive. But it's nice having a little break from finger pricking for a while. All in all, I think I'm pretty impressed with what it can do right now. Alright, 2 weeks is up. So what do I think of it?
I really like it. Look, it provided a whole lot of useful information, especially over the night, and I really like the trend arrow of showing what's going on. I wanted to wait a little bit to kind of see how I feel not having it and going back to using the ActiveCheck mobile. This thing sucks now. I mean, you kind of forget how much you don't like pricking yourself and how much that really is still a pain in the ass. It coincided with a trip to see my endocrinologist, which was really good because my HbA1c was 7.3, which is pretty good, but having seen the results coming out of this thing, I mean, you can really see how much I'm fishtailing through the day and that my control really isn't that tight. So usually where I should just look at that and go, okay, you're doing good, see you again in another 6 months. Being able to kind of show exactly what's happening through the days and walk through that data with her was pretty useful. It's probably one of the more useful meetings I've had with her. I really like how fast it was, especially at night. Not having to turn the lights on and test, just being able to bang, get it. And it actually works from quite a distance, so I was able to do it through my ice hockey gear, which was actually really awesome. Initially I was a bit worried about the fact that I would feel I'd have to carry this around all the time because I don't use the strips, I don't like carrying them around. If you're going away somewhere for a longer distance of time, you definitely have to carry this because you're not going to get your results on blood changing fast or being able to check if you're having a hypo. But if I was just heading out to lunch or leaving the house for a brief amount of time and my bloods felt okay, then I could get away with just having this. I use an Apple phone, so I can't use the Android app, which I think would be really awesome because that would solve the problem of me having to carry more devices. It was really good during the night. I find myself waking up a lot if I have to turn on the lights, prick my blood, and wait. Being able to do that and tap and just see what that long-term trend is really made it a lot easier. Making predictions or microdosing insulin during the night because I could see everything that was happening and get a better idea of where it was going. What I don't like about it is, I don't like this thing. This device feels really antiquated. It feels a lot like their existing meters with this ability kind of tacked on. The screen is really finicky. I mean, they even make a point of illustrating inside of the instructions how to tap properly. I mean, the expectations of what touchscreens and portable electronics is this feels about 10 years old. the UI, just the whole interface on it really needs some work. The desktop app really needs work too. I mean, the minute you plug it in, it's really confusing for a user. It asks you to be entering in like a patient ID. I think it's more meant that, say, a doctor or someone's going to use it. They could have done a better job on that. And it was really buggy too, that every time it kept saying it was connected even though the thing wasn't connected, and I couldn't get the data off it. But I got it out eventually, printed it, and that's what I took to my specialist. And obviously a big issue is the cost. I think they just reduced it a little bit. It's like $92 now for 2 weeks. That is really expensive. And it does highlight another problem I've had. It started to come off towards the end of it. I'm pretty active, right? I play ice hockey, I do swimming lessons with my daughter and that kind of stuff. I go to the gym. It's nothing too strenuous, but it was definitely peeling off. And I found myself just covering it with, it's like a medical bandage, a clear thing. I'd probably recommend doing that. And it leads me to the next point was, I liked it enough that I bought another sensor, and it was on for about 3 days. And instead of having it on the very back, I had it a little bit more up the side. And you don't really realize how much you bang into stuff, just walking into doorwells and elevators. And it was on for just a couple of days. I was leaving the elevator at work. I clipped it on the edge, and it just peeled right off. I did try and stick it back into the hole. I could see where the hole was, and get the little floppy middle piece back in, but it just wasn't reading properly. Now, I did reach out to Abbott, and I just said, hey, look, the thing's fallen off. And they came back and were really good about it and said, look, that's not under warranty, but we're going to be good to you and send you another one. So that was really awesome. I don't know how long they're going to do that for. It was accompanied by an email the next day that was kind of like a newsletter thing with some explanations to how to keep it on. It is a bit tricky, right? Because I think there's a lot of environmental factors that come into play that could make the thing fall off. If you're really sweaty, it's too hot, friction. I think ideally, in order to make sure it doesn't come off, I would recommend covering it with something or a band. I wonder if you really are looking at a band, and perhaps they could evolve the technology that it could include a small screen to give a reading on that. I think I'll at least use a couple more because I'm really trying to wrangle in my control right now. But if they're going to fall off after a couple of days and I'm just like wasting $100, I cannot afford to do that. It would be great if these were subsidized. I really could see myself using it long term if the cost was lower. Going back to the rudimentary testing with this, it sucks. This is so much better. I mean, this really does feel like something moving forward. It's the most innovative piece of diabetes tech I've had probably in the last decade. This really needs work. This thing sucks. If you do a better job with this, I would recommend it. If you haven't tried it and maybe you control, you do want to wrangle in, you want to see what's happening at night, I recommend giving it a go. There are some really, really obvious things that this could be really amazing for. So I snowboard, and testing my blood, going up the mountain when it's sub-zero and this thing's freezing up, it's not reading, it's hard to get blood off, taking the gloves off. This is going to be awesome to just go straight through the gear, get that reading, and see what's happening long term through the day. It's doing really good for ice hockey too. As I said, you can just do it right through your equipment and it pops up. I'm really excited to see where this technology is going to go, because it's not going to disappear. I think it'd be good to see some more competition on the market from some of the other manufacturers and what they can do. It seems that kind of all the different companies have different aspects that they're kind of at least innovative to some degree. Some with better connectivity and iPhone apps connecting to your phone, some with like smaller, more portable stuff. But the sensor really feels light years ahead of anything else. Unfortunately, it still means that I've kind of increased the amount of stuff I'm carrying with me, but it is outweighed by the benefit I'm getting by seeing that long-term result. That trend arrow is really the best thing about it, because if I haven't tested for an hour, my sugar's at one point, I'm like, okay, maybe I'm low, and there's a lot of guesswork coming in. Being able to see it on here is just really reassuring. I really like this thing. It's great to see some actual product innovation happening and some new tech coming out. Hopefully they'll be listening to us and listening and watching these videos and seeing what they can take from this to improve it. Alright, well, if you're thinking of getting the Libre, I hope this helped out a little bit. If you got any questions, sound off below. Appreciate the like. Until next time, see ya.